good. One of the mocks is DJ's mock. So I'll really get to rip
Speaking of DJ, DJ, do you remember the last year post draft? I think it took you about 7 or 8 episodes to finally pass the test that I gave for you, and it was to say Noah Igbinogheni's name correctly.
Shit.
So I was kind of going through some drafts this year, and I'm like, who is DJ going to just struggle with? And I think I've identified the guy. So before we even hit the mock drafts and the actual draft and the post-draft shows, I need you to read the name that I have picked as the 32nd pick in my mock draft.
All right, here we go. Levi Onwuzurike.
Not bad. I'm thinking that you're probably going to get it in the 4th episode we do after the NFL draft this year. I'm not going to say it until the end of the show, but for the time being, let's get loaded because this is the Loaded Box Podcast.
Well, we never finished first. Oh, fuck. Because we finished last.
Man, DJ's already riding the struggle bus over here. For a guy that spent half of the day on the golf course, who comes into the podcast, you can't say you didn't completely prep because you did an entire mock draft. So I am proud of you for doing that. Better late than never. And then you just come on, and we have a guest who you flatter right away with his good looks, and then all of a sudden, all you're saying is you're going to tear him down. DJ, are you going to be able to control yourself in this episode?
Look, I'm a salesman. I got to build some people up before I tear them down. But it's part of the Loaded Box. What do you do to freshmen? What's that word? Initiation. That's what you do to people.
There you go. Beautiful. Well, as I mentioned, we do have a guest. We're joined by Denny, who is the creator of NFLMockDraftDatabase.com, which features loads of 2021 NFL mock drafts, including ours from Loaded Box. So, Denny, you literally see more mock drafts than damn near anyone that I know. So, Denny, first of all, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining. But, man, how many mock drafts do you estimate that you have seen so far this offseason?
Oh, my gosh. I've seen a lot. So we're approaching 1,000 mock drafts for first-round mock drafts, and we're approaching 1,000 team-based mock drafts. And the crazy thing is I find them all myself. I mean, very like yourself will actually send me a link, but the majority is me just finding them. But yeah, it's been crazy. I don't know how many, because as we get closer to the draft, it's just more and more mock drafts. There's a lot of people that do like one a year. So as we approach that final draft date, it's gonna get crazy.
If you had to compare the amount of mock drafts you saw to pornos, what would that be?
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably more mock drafts. Mock drafts for sure.
That was close though, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, dude, like
DJ,
one
year's on that.
1 year's worth of mock drafts, and I'm already like way more.
Easily pornos, not even close.
Yeah, in your case. DJ, you usually do the one and done with the mock drafts, and you've done one for this specific episode. Are you going to be one and done, or are you going to give us another one?
No, I think once I do the one, if there's some shit that changes, luckily the fucking trade that just happened with Sam Darnold did not affect my pick for the Panthers. Actually, probably made it better.
Right.
But, I might make a change or two, probably one change max if in the next 2 to 3 weeks before the draft.
Don't you change that Panthers pick. Let's leave it right there, baby.
That was locked in. I do not have the Dolphins. Whatever. I'm not going to spoil it.
Not going to spoil it. I will say that if you hear a random voice coming throughout, it's our boy Mikey, who is going to be, if you're watching the live version, he's going to be working the scroll for us tonight to keep updating it. But if you're listening to the audio only version, you're going to be like, where's that fourth voice coming from? Don't worry. It's Mikey. He means well. He's doing a great job for us tonight. So we're looking forward to that. But we thought, what? I'm trying to get started here, DJ.
What's it like to be the ugliest guy on the podcast right now? Like, there's 4 people, and you are the worst looking by far.
So we thought it'd be good to have Denny join us as we review our latest mock drafts. They can be found right now on loadedboxpodcast.com if you want to follow along. Denny's going to help us navigate through these picks, provide insight as to whether the player is a consensus pick, if he's a bit of an outlier, if the player is trending up or down, pretty much anything and everything as it relates to the mocks. So let's just get it started right here. I don't want to spend too much time on the first two picks because me and DJ both have them the same. And I would assume, Denny, I don't want to speak too much for you here, but Jaguars and Jets is Lawrence and Wilson as the consensus pretty much, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is 100%. Zach Wilson over the last week has been 95% the pick. So people love Zach Wilson as the pick.
It was funny though, because it was like a week ago and the New York Jets put out like their season ticket information, and they made a big deal that Sam Darnold was like the face of one of the pictures that they used for that. And then a week later they traded him. And being a Dolphins fan, I was like, yeah, you know what? The Dolphins put like a new addition to their stadium once, and they put Ryan Tannehill on an elevator, and he hasn't been in Miami for quite a while now. So I don't think it really much matters.
Yeah.
So we saw that. So consensus, me and DJ both have Lawrence going 1 to the Jags, Wilson going 2 to the Jets. So let's bump into 3 right away. 49ers on the clock. I'm going Mac Jones. And actually, I'm going to let DJ go first here because he texted me today all upset that I had Mac Jones going number 3 to the 49ers.
And you know what? And one of our buddies commented on one of our the post that we put up today. And it's a good point that he made, but the Niners do not release. They have never let their picks leak. And now all of a sudden, Mac Jones is the pick. Mac Jones. Oh, I'd be surprised if they take Mac. Oh, that should tell you the opposite of what they're doing. I do not get how people are like, oh, this is it. This is Mac Jones. It makes me think like there's no chance they make Mac Jones. We already saw how fat he weirdly looks walking on the field. But Justin Fields is like the mobile guy. That's what he does. Justin Fields can get out of the pocket. He can make the throws. We're going towards the mobile guy. It just doesn't make sense that all of a sudden we're going to be like, oh, okay, now the Niners are leaking picks. I think that's a naive way to think. Justin Fields, I think, is the lock here.
See, I agree with that. But at the same time, I'm like, why are all these trusted sources lying to me if this is truly the case? And what's the benefit of leaking the fact that you're going to take Mac Jones? You already traded up to that spot to get your guy, knowing that Lawrence and Wilson are going to be off the board. What's the incentive to leaking it to Adam Schefter? That's where I like, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. So, Denny, with that, do you have a feeling for that pick? What's the consensus for that pick? How do you feel all this is going down?
So that pick has been split a lot between Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and Justin Fields. But the majority is Justin Fields over the last week, for sure. And over the entire duration of all the mocks, it's been Justin Fields. But it's only 50%. So the other 50% are probably split between Lance and Jones.
Interesting. So. DJ, do you have any more you want to add on to that, or do you want to go into the Falcons pick?
Well, I mean, I had a little bit more to add on to that, but I don't know. I can't get on the Mac Jones train. It's not there for me.
Listen, Mac Jones ran a 4.740. You know,
I probably ran a 4.540 this weekend at everybody's pro days. It's everybody's pro days. There's no combine at this point. I will run a 4.540 right now for you.
Everyone's sub 4.4. 100%.
Yeah, everyone
Easy.
is. Yeah. I don't know. He fits that Kyle Shanahan mold. If he doesn't want to go to an all-out running type of quarterback, or even a guy that can improvise with his legs, he hasn't really had that in the past. So he doesn't need it. I'm sticking. It is weird. I agree with a lot of you said there, DJ, but I'm sticking with Mac Jones. With that, let's go to number 4. We're different on this one as well. So that's where I have Justin Fields going. DJ, I believe you have Trey Lance going here. I want to turn this one over to Denny first. Is there a consensus over here? Is it kind of all over the board? Because another common mock here that I've seen recently is Kyle Pitts.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so Kyle Pitts has kind of been the trendy pick. But Trey Lance over all of the mock drafts is the selection, but he's only got 15% of the mocks. So if that gives you any idea of just how all over the place people are with Atlanta.
Yeah. DJ, are you Trey Lance because you already have the other 3 quarterbacks off the board and you don't like Mac Jones?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this multiple times. It comes down to Mac Jones, just mobility, right? With the way the NFL is going, the way we're heading, and I think everybody forgets about Trey Lance and the fact that he didn't play football this year in general like that. it just seems like this is the right choice right here in Trey Lance. I actually think Mac Jones is going to be the fall of this century or something like that, so to say, when it comes to this draft. I think he's going to fall down the draft board way further than everybody thinks.
Yeah, we'll get to that because obviously it's going to be coming up here. I think Mikey was trying to tell us to answer a question here that I saw popped up on the screen. I believe it said, if Mac Jones is taken at number 3, does that mean he is going to be taken over Justin Fields that is drafted later? I'm not 100% sure if I'm following that. I'm thinking it's more so a fantasy thing. Do you understand that question, DJ?
It says in fantasy at the end. So if Jones is taken at 3,
Oh,
does
I didn't
that
see
mean
that.
he's
My
going to be
bad.
taken over Fields that is drafted later in fantasy?
Oh, so in fantasy, honestly, I think
Yeah.
Fields is going to get that nod just because of what he provides as a floor, as a running quarterback, which Mac Jones is not going to provide. That's my take.
Agreed.
I'm assuming you're talking like dynasty league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that's fit too, right? Like,
Mhm.
or
Correct.
where this player ends up. If he's a guy that like Pittsburgh takes a guy, he's not going to start this year, right? Ben Roethlisberger is going to start, so
Correct.
it all depends.
Is Ben Roethlisberger still a thing?
He
Oh,
is,
man.
unfortunately.
Somehow.
I thought he died. God damn it.
He cried on the bench.
I fucking hate
He
that guy
did.
so much. Denny, I'll tell you what, Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger may be the 2 quarterbacks I hate worse than any quarterback in the NFL. And Matt Ryan is just pure off a gambling stance. Ben Roethlisberger is just pure pussy. Like, I can't take it anymore. Can't do it. Can't do his ice packs.
Are you a Bengals fan? Like, what's the problem here?
No, I just don't like guys who ruin my gambling life. I'm a degenerate gambler. Ben, you put that on the whole chat. I am a degenerate gambler, and when it comes down to it, if somebody fucks me with gambling, they're done for me. Matt Ryan has screwed me over, and Ben Roethlisberger just pissed me off.
I guarantee you, Denny was dying to know which 2 quarterbacks in the NFL you hate. So thank you for that contribution, DJ. We're trying to keep this to an hour, by the way. So,
no
DJ.
chance. It's hour 30
know.
minutes, Denny. I hope you're in for the long run.
Follow in line.
I got my coffee. I'm good.
Good.
He's got things to do. He's got mock drafts to load.
Oh my god, you have so many mock drafts I got to do tonight.
Yeah, I bet. Pick number 5, Bengals on the board. Me and DJ both have the same player here. Penei Sewell. Denny, I'm assuming that Jamar Chase is probably like 50-50 with Sewell, or what's the consensus there?
I mean, Sewell's been he's pretty much been the guy for the Bengals. But yeah, Chase has been showing up, especially with I don't even know what they are anymore. I feel like they're just people just throwing rumors out there just to make, some drama, right? But with such a deep offensive tackle class, it wouldn't be that shocking for the Bengals to just say, let's just get the top guy, perfect fit with our quarterback, and then we'll grab like Alex Leatherwood in the second round or something like that. It's not that crazy, but Sewell's been the guy for sure.
I think it sort of works the opposite way too. If you look at the wide receivers, I mean, I look at it from a dynasty perspective. We look at Mikey's dynasty rankings all the times. You're going to get like a legit stud receiver, an Elijah Moore, a Rondell Moore, a Rashad Bateman, either like late first, early second of these dynasty drafts, which goes to show like, man, there are a lot of receivers in this damn draft too. So I feel like you can make a case either way for that selection. I just think, and I think DJ would echo this, protect the investment, man. Like don't, what do they say on Hard Knocks? Like don't touch the merchandise. I think that's what they used to say. Protect Joe Burrow. You already have Tyler Boyd. You already have T. Higgins. Like you have Joe Mixon. Get this guy some protection up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It's an insult to T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd to draft a wide receiver when Joe Burrow literally was dead. He died this year. You can't do it. I don't care what type of offensive lineman you've brought in or who you have. You need to bring in that top guy to continue to protect that guy. You can move guys around. It's an insult. I understand Joe Burrow wants the guy that he played with, but when it comes down to it, you need to protect your franchise, and Joe Burrow is it. That's it. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Denny,
I would say I would look at this spot as a potential trade down, especially if Falcons don't take a quarterback, and there's someone like Mac Jones and Trey Lance sitting there. A team like Washington, Chicago could move up and try to get their guy. And, Cincinnati moves down a few spots, gets some more picks, and then they could still get that offensive tackle but later in the round.
Wait, that's going to be happening soon here with that trade. That's my spoiler here. Let's go on to the Dolphins once again. So picking 6 after all of their wheeling and dealing a couple of weeks ago. DJ and I, man, we have a lot of similar picks here to start with, but I think it's going to change soon. We both have Jamar Chase. I'm under the belief that the Dolphins made this move with 4 guys in mind, knowing that damn well 2 of them will be there. The 4 guys being Jamar Chase, the 2 Alabama receivers, and Kyle Pitts. Just knowing that it had to play out that at least 2 of them they'll be there and they'll get one of those playmakers. In my situation, they have an embarrassment of riches. All 4 of them are there. I'm going with Chase purely off the fact that I'm like 51% and 49% on this pick. I'd be 100% with any 4 of those guys, but Jamar Chase, look at that dude. Look at that guy. He wasn't even supposed to be a fast wide receiver. He does everything, as DJ's tattoo is leaking for some reason. I don't think anyone's going to argue with Jamar Chase for the Dolphins, and DJ probably has a few more comments on him because he has a man crush on him.
Honestly, if I were the Dolphins, I'd go ahead and take Mac Jones here. But
oh my God, I'm done with you.
Realistically, they're going to go ahead. They're going to decide between Kyle Pitts, I'm stuck on Mac Jones, Kyle Pitts, and Jamar Chase. But they have Mike Gesicki, and when it comes down to it, the best wide receiver in this draft is Jamar Chase, and you can't turn down that talent, in my opinion. So might as well give him the guy that he fucking lost to in Jamar Chase. Just do it. Give it to him.
Denny, what's your take on this Dolphins pick?
So Chase is obviously the guy, most common in all the mocks at like 44%. But I would not discount a Devonta Smith reuniting with Tua.
Right.
I don't know. Just why not? I mean, Chase is obviously the stud guy. He's the number 1, but Devonta's no slouch either, So
right.
Do you think a quarterback of that stature,
excited.
though? Yeah. Do you think a quarterback of that stature gets to make a decision on his wide receiver, though? Like, I don't think they care what he wants at this point. They just want to put weapons around him.
I don't think it's what he wants anyways. I think it's what fits with the team and what they need. And I think what Denny's saying there, it's what we've talked about on the podcast before. You've got the big bodies guys. You've got Gesicki. You've got Parker. You've got Preston Williams. If you're adding Chase, you're not adding the same player by any means. But at the same time, if you're getting a Waddle or a Smith, you're getting a guy that's going to be projecting magnificent from the slot.
Are we considering Jamar Chase big body? I don't understand. I just think he's the best wide receiver in the draft, period.
I do too, but I think him, Waddle, and Smith are very different. They're very different. Obviously, Smith being the complete outlier at 170 pounds. But if
you're a football team, do you not just take the best guy?
Not necessarily.
That's stupid then. Like, I think that's dumb. I just don't agree with that analysis. He can literally do everything. I think Devontae plays the slot, and Devontae Adams in the Packers, I'll move him in. I think Jamar Chase is that type of guy. You literally put him anywhere he fits in that offense. You have those big body guys, so let's put Jamar Chase in the slot because he can fit there.
But at the same time, like, that's just your opinion. I'm sure Denny would agree. There's probably a lot of people out there that think Devontae Smith is the best receiver in this class.
No.
Yep. And I would ask DJ if he felt that Ruggs was the number 1 receiver last year.
No, absolutely not.
Right. But he was the number 1 too. He was the first receiver taken.
Yeah, and he was the wrong guy taken. I feel like I've been. Yeah, no, you're right, but I'm right too. So, but it's also the Raiders.
The smartest thing DJ has said on this podcast. You're right, but I'm right.
And it's also the Raiders, right? Have we ever missed on the Raiders? Has anybody ever been wrong on the Raiders just making the wrong pick at wide receiver? Like, when's the last time they made the right pick?
True.
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah. Exactly. That was the right pick, actually. I'll give you that one.
Let's move on to number 7 here. 7 is traditionally the Lions pick. However, I have a team jumping up to that spot. I have the Chargers jumping up since Kyle Pitts is still on the board because Carolina's sitting there at 8. Carolina already got their quarterback. Chargers jump up, get another playmaker for Justin Herbert. I like what they already have in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Obviously, they lost Hunter Henry, and what they replace him with? Jared Cook, probably a 1-year rental player at best, a mentor, you could say, for Kyle Pitts. This is a perfect fit from a fantasy perspective, from a real life perspective. Just continue to surround Joe Burrow with playmakers. You saw what he did as a rookie. He's going to take another step forward in his second year as a pro. Man, guess who's going to help just even accelerate that learning curve? It's 100% Kyle Pitts. So I know it's so damn hard to project trades in an NFL draft, but I love this one. I've done 2 mock drafts now within the last month. I've projected the same trade because I like this that much.
Yeah, okay, I'll jump in real quick. I do like that pick based off of where you have Jamar Chase going, which we both have to the Dolphins, but it does all depend. I do love it. I do love that. It all depends on what happens ahead of the Lions at that pick. I do have them mocked Devontae Smith, but Jamar Chase, to me, is the top wide receiver. If they don't get him there, maybe they do drop back. Maybe they do drop back, let somebody come out there, take a Kyle Pitts, because anybody can take Kyle Pitts at that point. So let's jump up and make that move. So I do like your choice based on what we have happening. Both of us have happening up to this choice.
Right. And you've got Devontae Smith mocked here, obviously, with Kenny Galladay.
I'm not doing trades.
Leaving. Not doing trades, but obviously they have a need now. Marvin Jones out of the picture, Kenny Galladay out of the picture, brand new quarterback in the mix. So you're not too low on Devontae Smith if you got him as the second wide receiver off the board.
It's the only choice.
The only choice. Denny, what are you seeing at this slot?
So the Lions Devonta Smith is the consensus pick. I think DJ just copied the consensus mock drafts, and so he's just following exactly what everyone else is doing, which is awesome. It's great. But the Kyle Pitts move, I'd be interested to know what the Chargers fan base would say about that. Just because they've been so focused on offensive tackle. Like all the mocks have been offensive tackle. All their fans want offensive tackle, to the point where the mocks are kind of split on what offensive tackle they want to take. So there's really between like Darisaw and Rashawn Slater, and they've been kind of all over the place, but those are kind of the guys that they really want. So it'd be interesting to see if the fans would be pissed that they moved up and gave up, draft capital to not take a tackle, or would they be pumped because they're like, oh man, we got a Kyle Pitts, I'm in, let's go. So yeah,
because you're getting your playmaker, exactly. And honestly, I think one of the Chargers are typically at 13. If I leave them there, I 100% go offensive lineman, best available. So I totally agree with you. I'd be curious to know how that's going to break down as well. We'll move on to pick 8. If you're watching live, our scroll probably isn't going to move for a little while because I think Mikey got his COVID shot today and he is no longer connected. So he might have passed out on his floor. So science has failed Mikey. But with that, pick number 8, which is typically the Carolina Panthers. However, I have my other trade. And Denny, this was the spoiler that you had talked about. So with Trey Lance still on the board and with the Washington football team having Ryan Fitzpatrick, but drafting, I think they originally draft like around 19. This is your opportunity to basically do like what the Dolphins did with Tua. You have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's your mentor. We saw him just do an excellent job in that role with Tua. Now he gets to do it with Trey Lance. There's no pressure on Washington to start Trey Lance from day one. You're rolling with Fitzpatrick. Maybe you bring him in halfway through the season like what the Dolphins did, but you're getting your guy and you're moving up to the top 10 to do it because the way that the quarterbacks are going to come off the board, you have to. Another trade that I really like, I've been trying to get Washington to end up with a quarterback in this, and I don't think it's possible unless they trade. So I moved him up to 8, and I went with Trey Lance. DJ, you have the Panthers sticking with the pick and taking Kyle Pitts. Pretty self-explanatory, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty easy. You've got DJ Moore. You've got Robbie Anderson there. They drafted all defensive players, literally all defensive players last year. Might as well give Sam Darnold some more connections. You've got no tight ends. I don't care about Darnold. He's not a person, even though we were fucking sending DMs about him being elite as a joke. Kyle Pitts is a pick if he's available. No doubt here. That's a beautiful weapon for Darnold with those other 2 wide receivers.
Yeah. Denny, what are you seeing at that pick?
Yeah, I think the data suggests it's Trey Lance, but obviously that's you're talking a week's worth of data that a lot of stuff was before the Sam Darnold trade. So I'm interested to see how it unfolds over the next week. But if you look at all the mock drafts, it is Kyle Pitts is the most common one. So this seems to be like a great pick, and I agree. This range, this like 5, 6, 7, 8, is some team's going to pick jump up, trade up, and try to get a quarterback for sure. Whether it's like you said, Washington, like you did, or Chicago or New England, someone's moving up. These teams don't necessarily have to sit here. So
absolutely. Mikey did text me, by the way. COVID has not taken him out, the vaccine, I should say. He is upset because he was planning on popping in because Carolina is his team, and he wanted to interject with some stuff here, but he can still work the scroll, so that should remain updated. But unfortunately, we won't be able to hear his take on that. We'll see if he can make it back. Number 9, I finally don't have a trade. Me and DJ both have cornerbacks going in this pick. I've got Caleb Farley. I actually like DJ's pick a little bit better. You've got Patrick Surtain. The reason why I'm going with Farley, he opted out. I think people would probably consider him a consensus top 2 cornerback, but then J.C. Horn ran his pro day 40 and blew everyone away. So now you kind of have 3 in the mix. And what came up with Caleb Farley was the back issue and needing all the recovery time and everything. So you could see him falling. But from a pure talent standpoint, I'm going to stick with Farley for the time being, but not going to lie. When I do mock draft version 4.0, this is probably the pick I'm most likely to change. And I like DJ's pick in Surtain.
Yeah.
Surtain. DJ.
I think he's consensus top cornerback. Fucking make some plays. Just let's move on.
Denny,
let's go, Denny.
Okay. So Farley was slowly climbing up to eventually take over the top spot. Surtain was always number 1, right? And Farley was climbing, and then that back surgery happened, and like he's been plummeting hard to the point where I've seen multiple mock drafts where he's not even in the first round. So he's starting to fall, which means J.C. Horn's going to climb up to the number 2, and Greg Newsome has been slowly climbing up too now, where he's like going to be going in the late mid first round. So he might even jump Farley when it's all said and done. But yeah, Farley's going to fall, I think, in the draft.
Is Greg Newsome related to Craig Newsome?
I was going to ask that to someone who had an insight to Northwestern. I don't know. Denny, do you know the answer to that?
I don't. I should.
Fuck. I was hoping that Denny would have the answer, and now I'm disappointed. Can you just take him out real quick, Ben?
Let me give him a call. Hold on.
Yeah. Ben, can you ask him a question that makes him uncomfortable real quick, Ben?
Give
him one of our questions.
Me?
Ben.
Let me think of which one I want to ask while I do this pick here, because number 10 we both have cornerbacks as well. Okay. Dallas Cowboys, we both have the Cowboys making the selection. I have Surtain. You have Horn. We just talked about cornerbacks. I don't know how much more time we need to spend on this one. Denny, is cornerback consensus here, or is this a likely trade spot? What are you seeing here?
It's pretty solid. Surtain as the pick for Cowboys in the consensus mock draft.
If it's not cornerback, is it defense though? I mean, we watched the Cowboys, like especially when Dak was playing, put up 30+ points a game and lose damn near all those games.
Yeah, I mean, other than the corners like Surtain and Farley, it's been Rashawn Slater, so offensive tackle.
Really?
I've seen. So yeah.
Can I ask you why I have the Cowboys taking a cornerback every single year in the last 10 years of the draft? I don't think I remember last time I don't have the Cowboys taking a cornerback. Do you, Ben?
The problem is they don't do it. And then
I feel like they do, and they just take the wrong guy. It continues to be a domino effect of shitty cornerbacks.
Well, the nice thing is last year they ended up with, was it Trayvon Grimes in the second round, which they kind of just fell to him because a lot of people had him projected as a first rounder. And then when he ended up being there in the second, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Wow, I went with the Florida Gators wide receiver.
Yeah, I think we're talking about basketball. We're talking
holy cow there.
Quentin Grimes.
Right. Diggs. I'm sorry about that. Which it kind of softened the blow for taking CD Lamb because he's such a playmaker offensively. You're like, well, we still got Diggs in the second round. It's not too bad. But yeah, it's just because they don't spend high draft capital outside of that on the position. So
Jerry.
We'll move on to number 11. We both have the Giants making the pick. I'm going offense with Jalen Waddle. DJ, you're taking the first edge rusher here, Kwity Paye. You're thinking that the Giants have enough help on the offensive side of the ball, and now they need to address defense. What do you got going on here?
Well, it's tough, right? Because I think I feel like they could be a move up to get Kyle Pitts type of situation. But if they stay there, I don't make trades. I don't like to fuck with that. Don't do that. They need a pass rusher. The Giants thing is pass rushers. Maybe I just think about Michael Strahan and his teeth. But let's go ahead and add that pass rusher to a playoff team in the Giants and make that team even better defensively. I think they really believe in Daniel Jones. They got the wide receivers there, and they think they can make that improvement offensively with Saquon and that guy. So let's add the pass rusher. I think they feel like they have everything offensively they need in Shepard and Golladay now and Saquon. So let's add that monster pass rusher at this point.
Yeah, and you have Slayton, who will be entering year 3, where we see a lot of wide receivers take off.
He runs a really good slant.
He does. He's a great slant runner. So is Jalen Waddle, though. So maybe I'm getting too much of a luxury pick here. I think I'm kind of stuck on the Giants taking Waddle just because I've had it mocked there so many damn times. But ever since they've picked up Golladay, it almost feels like a luxury pick. It's almost like the fact that I have both Waddle and Smith on the board here. I almost felt obligated, like, man, they have to take one of these guys. The fact that they slid this far, like, just an embarrassment of riches. Go ahead and give Daniel Jones a reason not to fail. Make sure he is the guy, because this is the make it or break it year. Like, you have to, if you're going to surround him, man, Waddle's the pick. But this would be another one as I do mock draft 4.0. Man, going defense here seems like the more maybe realistic way to go, especially if a guy like Waddle or Smith would already be gone. Denny, are you seeing the Giants going more defense with this pick? What are you seeing recently, especially after the acquisition of Golladay?
So I have good news. You guys picked pretty consensus picks. It's Jalen Waddle's been the most popular. Kwity Paye has been second, and then Devonta Smith's been third. But recently, out of left field, it's been Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. So maybe they go offensive tackle. Just say, you know what, let's shore up the offensive line. So yeah.
That's the thing with a team like the Giants. They could go so many options. And honestly, if they wanted to, I don't know who like the hot player, I guess, would be to trade up into this position, but maybe a decent spot to acquire more draft capital. And I see Mikey popped back in. Mikey, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. My internet was being weird. I had to chime in on this one because, like you were saying, I mean, there's so many different options that the Giants can go with now. Ever since they acquired Kenny Golladay, it's really thrown a wrench into the potential pick here, you know, because before that happened, we knew they were going receiver. We knew that Waddle or Smith was going to end up here. But, you know, now you're seeing Kwity Paye, now you're seeing Rashawn Slater, now you're seeing, you know, XYZ guy, because it's just one of those teams where they could fill a need pretty much anywhere at 11 now. It's kind of an exciting pick.
Can we relax on the fucking word luxury pick? Because the Giants do not have a luxury pick. All right. What were they? 7-9? Their entire fucking division was below 500. And they made the playoffs.
Did I say luxury or did Ben?
No, Ben did.
Oh, okay.
I can't. This luxury pick thing is being thrown around like just tossed around like words. Like there's like 5 teams that can make a luxury pick. They're the Packers. They're the Chiefs. They
Always
are
the Packers.
Yes, but it's a fact, Ben. Okay,
here's
like when your quarterback is Aaron
you.
Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, then yes, you can make a fucking luxury pick. But when your quarterback is Daniel Jones and you go 7-9 in a division that everybody else fucking loses, you do not have a luxury pick. There's no luxury pick here. You don't go offense, you add to the defense. That's what it comes down to, or offensive line. That's it.
feel like you're contradicting yourself because you said luxury pick very sternly multiple times there, more than I've ever said it. But I don't think you're understanding what I mean by it. If you're the Chiefs and you take Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hey, settle down, DJ. Count to three. If you're the Chiefs and you take Clyde Edwards-Helaire at number 32 last year, that's what you're considering to be your luxury pick because you have an embarrassment of riches. Your team can't get like what do we need? We just won the Super Bowl. Like that's like the common way. I'm saying if you're the Giants and you've got Kenny Golladay, you've got Darius Slayton, you've got Sterling Shepard, you have that's your unit. That's good. If you're adding to that, then I would consider that to be a luxury because you're already adding to something that you have. Well, you can say wrong.
Okay. Ask the Dallas Cowboys how that went.
I'm not. Once again, you're not fine. How many balls did you put in the water today when you were golfing?
Yeah, just ask the Dallas Cowboys how their luxury pick went with fucking CeeDee Lamb.
Let's move on to the Eagles, who are picking number 12 after trading with the Miami Dolphins. Don't checkmate. I'm just trying to get you to shut up.
You're done.
We've got the Alabama wide receivers going here. I've got Devontae Smith still on the board. You've got Jalen Waddle still on the board. Denny, I'm going to kick it to you first on this one. If these receivers are on the board, are the Eagles taking any other position?
All right, so there's the real world scenario, and then there's the what they should do scenario, right? So what they should do scenario, absolutely. These two guys are the common guys mocked, but the Eagles are the Eagles, and they're not going to take a wide receiver in the first round, or if they do, they're going to take like some weird guy or something. But Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle are the guys here, most common.
Yeah,
I struggle with.
I know we talked about both those guys. DJ, would you go a different route?
I struggle with this pick bad because if you're the Eagles, you added a wide receiver last year. You have Jalen Hurts. I get it. You kept your couple of tight ends, but you got rid of a bunch of defensive picks. Do you not make a trade out of here? I don't know what the Eagles can do that would be correct besides try to add draft capital because I don't think wide receiver is the correct pick for them at this place.
And I understand what you're saying. Denny, how popular is like a guy like Micah Parsons? Like, is he in play here?
Let's take a look. I feel like I've seen him in a few.
I feel like they need linebacker. However, like you've seen the team and the way that their defense has transformed, it's almost like we're just going to plug in a guy. We don't need a stud. We don't need like the linebacker one in a draft to be our pick at 12 after we traded out of a spot. Because would they have traded out of this spot if they were super high on a guy like Jamar Chase? So maybe DJ's onto something there. Like maybe it's not a wide receiver because if you wanted the best wide receiver, you probably stay at 6.
Yeah, I mean, there's the two wide receivers, and then the other guy is Patrick Surtain. So, so corner.
Couldn't hate that.
Though, yeah, Ben makes a good point. I don't like agreeing with him, but why move from that spot when you literally have the best wide receiver possible in the draft?
Right.
Why? I guess I don't. It doesn't make sense to me what the Eagles are doing, but trying to continue to add draft picks. I feel like they're trying to do what the Dolphins are doing. And offense and adding guys doesn't make sense. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the future. I just can't see them. I took a weapon here. I can't see them actually taking a weapon, an offensive weapon. I can't see them taking a skill player. I'm off the skill player guy. I'm going to change my pick immediately.
I say it looks like you have to make an edit to your mock. At pick 13 was the original Chargers pick. So obviously this is the trade that I have the Lions going back for. So I have the Lions going Micah Parsons because honestly, if they would have stayed I think they're at 7, Micah Parsons is in play there. The fact that they were able to trade down 6 spots and still land him seems like a no-brainer. Another team that has lots of holes. They could be due for even another trade back, acquire more draft capital. You can go a lot of different positions. But it's linebacker 1. He's still a guy you're probably considering at 7. I like him at 13. I didn't really consider too many other guys. DJ, you have the Chargers keeping the pick and doing what Denny said a lot of the fan base and what a lot of the mock drafters are doing anyways and taking Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, I mean,
Denny?
they just added.
Oh, go ahead, DJ.
I mean, they have the Packers offensive line at this point, so I just don't know why they don't continue to protect him and add more offensive linemen. It's frustrating, but it is what it is.
Right. Denny, I know you
So
said that's a pretty common thing for the Chargers, their offensive line.
absolutely, yeah. So you mocked Slater, but it's been Darrisaw pretty much over throughout the whole course. But the Parsons
Is
trade
that
down
because Slater's
is
gone?
what's that?
I'm sorry. Is that because Slater's already gone, or what's the idea with Darrisaw being the guy there?
I don't know. I think Slater. I think for the consensus has been over the last week, Slater was the guy in the Giants, so he would have been gone in that
Okay, so
scenario.
he would have
But
been gone already. Okay.
yeah. But
Makes sense.
for over the course of all the mocks, Slater was still available, and Darrisaw was the pick. So,
Okay.
But the Parsons trade down, I think, is brilliant because he is still the second most mocked guy to the Lions at 7. So if you're able to trade down to 13 and still get Parsons, I think that's a brilliant move by the Lions. So,
all right. Sign me up as a GM, Dan Campbell. I mean, Man Campbell. I mean, it is what it is over there.
Dan Campbell.
Man Campbell. At 14, we both have the Vikings keeping their pick. We're both going offensive line, so we probably don't have to dive too much more into this one. I've got Rashawn Slater coming off the board. DJ has Christian Darrisaw there. Denny, do the mock drafters outside of offensive line, what's a common pick for the Vikings there? Because I was like 100% offensive line, especially if Slater's still there, he's off the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, over the last week, it's been Vera Tucker as the guy. But for all the mocks, it's been actually surprisingly Greg Rousseau, edge from Miami.
Yeah, another position, which is funny because you think about the Vikings, they had just an embarrassment of riches on the defensive line, 2-3 years ago? And now it's like, we kind of need to address everything, especially after the who was the guy they brought in, Ngakoue, like just blew up. Like that didn't work. He was there for a ham sandwich and then he bounced. So that wasn't.
What did I say would murder the Vikings week 1? I can't remember. Like I can't.
Oh my god!
Do you remember?
Is that Homer DJ piping in there again?
Oh shit!
Denny, if you haven't figured it out yet, DJ's the most Homerish Packers fan of all time.
It's really easy when that football team's good. So
wow. So I'm a deflated Bears fan. So
sorry.
Oh no!
Let's not talk about it.
And here's the deal: like I fit with you, I'm a delusional Dolphins fan.
Touchdown! All right, go ahead.
It's okay. I can't top that. Everyone's ears are broken. Let's move on to 15. We both have the Patriots making the pick. I've got them taking Kwity Paye, edge rusher out of Michigan. DJ, you've got Rashad Bateman. I like your pick as kind of like the sexy pick. You need to continue to add playmakers on that offensive side of the ball. But I see Mikey with his finger up in his air saying he wants to jump in here. So let's let producer Mikey jump in.
I do. I have to ask you here. So Mac Jones is still available in your mock and you have the Patriots skipping on him. I'm pretty surprised by that. Denny, is there many like scenarios in those mock drafts where the Patriots actually have an opportunity to grab a quarterback at 15?
Yeah. That's the consensus right now is Mac Jones at 15.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. DJ, what gives, man?
So it feels like they're doing everything they can to make Cam Newton successful, adding the tight ends. Obviously, he was a big Greg Olsen guy. So I'm like, let's let N'Keal Harry isn't it. I hated him since the beginning of time. So let's go ahead and add the next best wide receiver to Cam Newton's repertoire. They've got probably their entire defense coming back after the COVID. Like it seemed like the COVID thing, everybody opted out for the Patriots. They're getting that defense back, I'm guessing. So let's go ahead and add another weapon outside the tight ends to Cam Newton's repertoire and see what he can do. That's what I'm jumping in on. I'm just thinking that they're trying to be like, all right, let's give him Cam Newton some more weapons because he had nothing. He legitimately had nothing last year. Who is he throwing the football to? James White? It's nothing. So
yeah,
exactly. So this is my thinking is let's give him an actual chance. It's really weird they brought him back to me. So I'm like, I think if they actually are just going to buy that Bill Belichick is just going to buy into him, give him the chance and see what happens. If not, maybe they can take, fucking Trask in the round 3 or 2, round 2 or early 3.
I mean, I don't mind the Rashad Bateman pick here. There's nothing wrong with that. I was just surprised that you left Mac Jones on the board here, but thank you for explaining.
Denny, I saw you vigorously shaking your head when the name Kyle Trask was said. What gives?
Kyle Trask is going to be a future backup quarterback. He's oh God, what's his name? The quarterback from Georgia last year.
I fucking
went to the Bills.
Oh my God, we're all blanking on the same name. This sucks.
I'm a gambler. I'm a mad gambler, and I hate him more than anybody.
Yeah, I can't get Aaron Murray's name stuck out of my head.
Nope.
Exactly.
I know it's not him, but we all know.
I would much rather take. I'd much rather take a shot.
Don't look it up. Don't look it up.
Yeah, I'd much rather take a shot like in the later rounds with some of these other guys, like a Davis Mills or something, than have to spend like actual like real capital on Kyle Trask. So,
nope. I like the take. I like the comparison, to be honest with you. And I'm a Gators fan, and I'm like, yeah, there's stuff missing there for Trask. Don't that offense. That
offense was Tony and Pitts, man. It was Trask was just the guy throwing it to them.
100%. Let's move on to 16. DJ and I both have
Jake Fromm is
Jake Fromm, that fucking asshole. Jake from State Farm.
DJ was gonna rub the skin off of his forehead if he was thinking about that any harder. He's just over here just scratching.
Just like who made me so angry when I lost money on them.
How come that's what people do when they're thinking? Why do you rub your head? Like, is that
I don't know?
Is that gonna help?
Bo Nix was the other person that came to my head, but that's Auburn. So I was getting so angry.
That's the future Kyle Trask.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yep.
Fucking hate that guy.
All right. 16 was the Cardinals. DJ and I both have cornerbacks. The previously mentioned Greg Newsome is DJ's pick. My pick is JC Horn. I feel like when you talk about these cornerbacks, they're all sort of interchangeable. You kind of just go with which one's left on the board. I know a lot of teams will take like a man guy versus a zone guy or vice versa, depending on what type of scheme they're playing. But Denny, the question I wanted to ask of you, because I told DJ on the last episode we did, that I think 16 is the prime spot, that if a running back is going to go, 16 is the earliest a running back is going to go. How popular is a guy like Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams? How popular is the running back there compared to any of the other positions?
I mean, cornerback's been number one by far. I haven't seen too much running back.
Interesting.
I kind of get the feeling that I've seen a lot of running back in the second round for the Cardinals, like Javonte Williams or something, but not in the first.
Interesting.
Whoa.
Why is that a whoa?
I think I might have been.
Because he's my number one running back.
DJ wants him to go in the first. I think we might get to that in a little bit.
He goes in the first. Nice.
We've got a. Could you hear that? I almost didn't get it by the mic.
I had a little boner.
Thank you.
When I did that.
That's weird. At 17, we both have the Raiders making the pick. We both have linebackers. DJ has Micah Parsons. I'm going with Zaven Collins. Collins out of Tulsa is a guy a lot of like the mainstream, just college football casual watchers don't see much of. But if you throw on the tape of this guy, I think he finished last year with 7,809 tackles. Dude is everywhere. As a Dolphins fan, if they took him at 18, I wouldn't hate it. Obviously, me and DJ are sort of on the same path here with linebacker being the way to go. I do think that the Raiders are kind of a wild card when it comes to the position they could go. Denny, are you seeing linebacker being the common thing, or is it more spread out than what I imagine?
So linebacker is the most popular, but it's the linebacker from Notre Dame is the number one. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce his name. I'll let DJ do that one.
Yeah, I can't wait.
But there's also been, Kwity Paye and Christian Barmore mocked there. But the trendy pick, the most recent pick, is Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive lineman from USC. But I think your guys' choice of linebacker seems to be on target with what most mock drafts are doing.
Yeah, DJ, was that a slam dunk for you when you saw the Raiders' need for linebacker and Parsons still on your board? Like, did you have to think more than 4 seconds about that pick?
Yeah, the Raiders confuse me just in general defensively, so I just
They
go
do.
ahead and went at linebacker or safety, but like I went linebacker at this point.
Yeah. So the Dolphins' second first-round pick is number 18. We both have them keeping it. Here is where I have the first running back in my mock coming off the board. I'm going with Najee Harris. DJ, you are going with an edge rusher that I can't really complain about because they do have a need at the position. Jason Owe, who just blew away his pro day, but who knows what the hell we're going to make out of that. Are you going Owe there over running back just because you think that edge rusher is like a glaring weakness?
Well, I just think you guys have 74 different running backs you're trying out here in the Miami Dolphins at this point. And why? Like, why? Why at this point to continue to build around at this point? When it comes to the Dolphins, their defense is their strength. Tua in that offense isn't their strength, so let's continue to add to what they have to do. They're weak at the edge, so let's go with the top guy. Yeah, that's my pick. Running back seems like it seems like a dumb pick. You guys have Saman Ahmed and all the other guys there. It doesn't seem like smart. You're the biggest anti-running back guy. You have a few guys there in Gaskins, Ahmed, whatever. Why do
that up, Mikey? I love what Mikey said there because I didn't plan that going into it, but mid-sentence I said what that is. And for the audio only listeners, Mikey said, we're going to let Ben get away with saying Owe blew away his pro day without acknowledgement of the poetry. And I think DJ may have said something if he had not been drinking and golfing all day. And I have faith that Denny may have given me a pat on the back, but DJ was just the next to talk. So I'm going to give you guys a slide on that one.
I think, yeah, always one of those examples of a guy that, like, he ran a 4.3 640. Like, come on.
Off the edge?
That can't be real numbers.
Come on.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
What's the
running back? Let's go.
No shit, right? You don't even need Najee Harris there. Yeah. What's the consensus here, Denny? Because honestly, I don't disagree with what DJ said. But my theory on Najee Harris is the Dolphins have these running backs, Gaskin, Ahmed. They don't have the guy that's like the bell cow, the guy that you're going to rely on as an every down ball carrier, and the luxury that he brings, I've said luxury again, as a pass catcher. Like the guy is one guy that you can kind of just rely on when you need to. You're not relying on Myles Gaskin. You're not relying on Savon Ahmed. We saw it last year. Those guys are carbon copies of each other. Najee Harris is a game changer at that position. So if you're like you can go the opposite way on what you said. Your defense is your strength. You need to work on offense. Well, Jesus, if you can give me Jamar Chase to pair with the receivers they have and Gesicki they have, and now you're going to give me Najee Harris, there's no reason for that offense and Tua not to succeed. And if they don't, you'll hear me own it, DJ. Like, I'm prepared. Like, if they get these playmakers and Tua doesn't succeed, I'm going to have to put myself in front of the train that's going to hit me, because you're not going to let me get away with it any other way. DJ's just laughing incontrollably right now. He's trying to hold his cheeks together because he's so upset with me. So, Denny, I'm going to let you what's the consensus here? Try to calm me down a little bit. I'm getting red in the face because DJ's pissing me off.
So Ben, you're not crazy. There's been a lot of mock drafts with Najee Harris at 18. The most common has been it's pretty much been split between Najee Harris and Jeremiah, linebacker from Notre Dame. And then the most recent one has been Kwity Paye, edge as like the trendy pick for the Dolphins. So defense seems to be popular with Najee Harris, seems to be like the obvious choice where like there's a need there and there's a top player, just plug them in.
DJ, I feel like you want to say something, but I just want to cut you off.
I have nothing to say about this. I enjoy that you're a Dolphins fan. It's one of my favorite things is you being a Dolphins fan. Like, you love the offseason more than any.
This is my Super Bowl, baby. Win in April. That's all I care about. Win in April.
I can say so many bad things, and you can just get so angry and think that you're right, and then I get to appreciate winning, and you don't. It's so great. It's just move on.
Hey, he's got an undefeated team, all right? He gets to celebrate every year.
Fact. That's fact.
That is true.
I mean,
he didn't win the first Super Bowl or the second one, but yeah, he can be undefeated.
Wow. I believe the Dolphins were a team then, you asshole. You won all your fake championships
Not my
when there was
fault.
3 teams in the league.
I said Super Bowl, not championship.
Boo-hoo. Let's move on to number 19. So this is where I had Washington's original pick here. I have the Panthers trading back to this spot, ending up with best offensive lineman yet on the board, Christian Darrisaw. DJ, you finally did it. Washington stayed put and got their guy. Before DJ even gets to speak on it, I personally think that it's probably the most unrealistic part of DJ's draft. But Denny, you seem to think like if Mac Jones is hanging around to 15 or where the Patriots are in some of these drafts, are you seeing him on the board still at 19 in some of the drafts that you're looking at?
Yeah, he's actually been very popular at 19, which is, I don't think it's realistic that he'll fall that far. I think, like we said, I think teams are going to get desperate because they'll know that if they don't get Mac Jones, then they're left with Kyle Trask. Right, and it's like there's such a steep cliff after that, so teams are gonna jump up to try to get a Mac Jones. So I don't realistically see him falling to 19, but he has been pretty popular there.
Fair enough. And Mikey jumped in. What do you got here, Carolina Panthers fan?
Yeah, I mean, my internet, cut out when DJ was taking Kyle Pitts, and I really wanted to jump for joy over that one. But, my number 3 on my wish list, just behind Pitts and Sewell, is that Carolina trades back. And, I think getting Christian Darrisaw here, it solves a lot of needs for them. Definitely doesn't solve everything, but it's solves a really, really big hole. And, we got to protect our new stud quarterback. So, we'll see how that goes. But I will say I do like the pick. I do like the trade down, and hopefully they landed something good later on in this draft during that trade too.
Fair enough. DJ, you've already just completely torn Mac Jones to shreds. I feel like you only picked him here just because Washington needs a quarterback. You're shaking your head at me, but you know it's true.
No, I think he's a good football player, a good quarterback, but I just don't think he fits the NFL, what the NFL is looking for. But I do think he's going to be a guy that tumbles. And as he's falling, Washington's going to sit there and let him fall right into their hands. And this is the perfect spot for him. Like they have Ryan Fitzpatrick. What else? What else are they going to do? I honestly think Mac Jones is a lie. I think everybody talking about Mac Jones is a lie. Anybody, San Francisco, all that shit, I think it's a smokescreen. We're all falling for it. Mock drafts are just bullshit. I really do. I think every mock draft out there is just a guessing game off of everybody being lied to. So I'm thinking this guy's going to continue to fall. It's not a bold take. It's not at all. So I want this guy to fall. And I want it to be. That's why I agreed with you. I agree. I realized your take was sarcastic, but it is what it is. I assume he's going to fall. I really do believe that nothing that everybody says in the top 10, top 15 is true. I think he falls to 19. I'd be surprised if he gets taken in the first round at this point. I really do believe that, but I'm going to take him here because Washington needs a young quarterback.
The old smoke screen at 3 when you already know who 1 and 2. I'm just saying, I'm really confused by this number 3 smoke screen. It doesn't make sense to me. Mikey said something about my mock, how he liked the trade down, which brought me to a tweet someone gave to me today who said, this might be my favorite mock so far. Makes a lot of sense up and down the board. So naturally, it's probably worthless. And I couldn't have agreed more because every single year.
Mr. Trubisky taken at 3?
He did. Was it 2 or 3?
Checking. No, I'm just checking. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure you're very, very smart.
I am. But back to my tweet. This is the kind of deal. Like, this guy couldn't have been more spot on because I feel great about this draft. I guarantee you, this draft, I probably get 4 or 5 picks right. That's just how it ends up being every year. So, yeah, it's usually a good guessing game. But, man, we're just addicted to it. This is our crack. We just consume it. So, with that, Denny, your squad here. Me and DJ both have him taken offensive lineman. I've got Elijah Vera Tucker. DJ's got a man named Walker Little. I personally think this is a decent area for a trade. I didn't quite know exactly where I wanted the trade to take place. Are you seeing trades in mock drafts, or are you thinking, you know what, they're going to hold this pick and there's a guy or a position that they're really zoned in on?
So Walker Little is not going to be the pick in the first round, which is Walker Little right now is projected as a third-round pick based on all the mock drafts that are appearing in here. But offensive line for sure is very popular. The consensus has Rashad Bateman, wide receiver from Minnesota, as a pretty popular pick. But as a Bears fan, I would be pissed if they took a wide receiver in the first round. There's lots of wide receivers you can get in the second round. You got to shore up that offensive line and get an offensive tackle in there.
Yeah.
Would you be angry if they brought in Andy Dalton as a quarterback?
Yes.
Okay. Curious about if you know the decisions that the Bears are making or agree with any of them.
That is correct. Well, if you had them trade up to the third pick and gave up the farm for them, then yeah. You know what I actually think is going to happen? They're going to give up 2 first-round picks for Teddy Bridgewater. Please. And that's after his stock has completely fallen too, and they're still going to give him 2 first-round picks.
Right.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen.
I love that. I saw a tweet today, and it was just something like, imagine the GM's face when he just realized that he went with Andy Dalton and Teddy Bridgewater is available, probably at, I don't know, a reasonable price. Now that the fact that they have Sam Darnold and they're not going to give him away, but it's like, damn it, why do we pull the trigger on a bridge like Andy Dalton? But I don't know, so man. Bad. Denny, I'm going to rely on you
bridge to who, though?
As the Bears house. A bridge to a mystery, I think.
I know, that's what's confusing. I don't understand the pick. They just are in a perpetual. That's why I love playing the Bears, because they're in this perpetual purgatory. They never stop being shitty at quarterback, and it's great.
Yep. Denny, another guy I wouldn't be mad about. I was just going to say another guy I wouldn't be mad about them taking would be Greg Newsome in the first.
Yeah.
Because like quarterback, there's a drop after those top 4 guys. So
honestly, they should take Brian Urlacher.
Denny, were you part of the fan base, Denny, that were you thought it was a better than 50% chance that they were going to end up getting a guy like Russell Wilson or maybe even Deshaun Watson before the wheels fell off? No,
that was never going to
belong to that group. No. I've talked to a lot of Bears fans
smoke and mirrors.
Loved it. Yeah.
Oh well, sure. It would be great if it happened, but honestly, I think Seattle would have been dumb not to take that trade. If that package was real, Seattle should.
If it was real, holy shit! Yeah, no kidding. Let's move on to 21. It's the Colts pick. I have the Ravens trading up to get a wide receiver, and if they do this, I no longer like Rashad Bateman in dynasty drafts. I have them trading up to make sure that they get one of their guys. My theory on why it's Bateman is because they've got a lot of guys that can do speedy things. You think about Hollywood Brown, you think of Devin Duvernay. Forgot who Sammy they just Watkins. Added outside of that. Sammy Watkins. There you go. He's probably not a huge long-term solution at the position, but Rashad Bateman, we talk about. He probably will. He maybe will. We talk about Rashad Bateman, though, being the guy that can do a little bit of everything. And I truly think that's what Baltimore doesn't have. So they see still on the board, trade up a few spots, make sure you get your guy. And like I said about Tua earlier, give Lamar Jackson his guys and make him be the reason why the offense fails. See what you have. Load him up with as many skilled players that you can possibly do and just let the truth come out at that point in time. So I've got him going Rashad Bateman. DJ, you've got the Colts sticking on the board here, and I'm going to let you, for comedic purposes, announce who your pick is here for the Colts at 21.
Aziz,
my favorite part of the offseason. One more time for the audience.
Aziz Ojulari.
Damn it, you actually nailed it that second time. The first time was questionable. The second time, though, man, home run right off the tee.
Bomb skis.
Do you
Yeah,
have
it's
any,
just,
you have any take on
just
that
keep adding
other
it.
than the fact?
It just seems like the Colts and everything I do to follow the Colts, they just want to add an edge on Twitter. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow that.
Makes sense. Denny, do you have any feelings here on 21?
Yeah, I mean, Edge has been pretty popular. It's been Gregory Rousseau, but I mean, Edge seems to be the pick or the hope at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I actually have Ojulari going at the next pick to the Titans. DJ, you got the first safety coming off the board. Trevor Morrig. It's an interesting spot because I think we look at the Titans and all of a sudden receiver has sort of become a pressing, not I don't say a pressing need, but a need nonetheless. But we look at that defense and think, Jesus, they need an edge rusher. They need a cornerback. They need help there too. Then are you typically seeing defense up until like the point when Corey Davis didn't re-sign and now you're getting some more receivers in that spot, or what's the more popular pick there for the Titans at 22?
It's been solid edge, between Aziz and Jalen Phillips and Gregory Rousseau. It's been all edge players. So
interesting.
That's where they're headed.
Yeah, their secondary though to me has just been trash for a while. Like I just feel like they could add so much in their secondary.
Well, and they just didn't re-sign the dude that they drafted so high, 3-4 years ago? I'm blanking on his name
Jackson,
now.
Yeah.
Dory Jackson, yeah, another kind of like failed prospect at that point. And so, yeah, there's definitely holes. Mikey, you're back in the game.
I am. I have a question for Denny, actually.
Oh boy.
So Trevon Moehrig, is this typically like around the early 20s? Is this typically where you start to see him get mocked? Because whenever I do a mock draft, I'm all over the place with him. A part of me wants to make him like a mid-teens pick. Sometimes he like falls to the end of the first, even out of the first. Like he's so good, but is anyone actually taking a safety this high?
So the highest we really see is like 25 with the Jaguars, 28 with the Saints, sometimes 17 with the Raiders, 27 with the Ravens. So yeah, roughly like late first round, sometimes creeping into that mid first round.
Cool. Thanks. I've really been wondering that one because he's all over the place for me.
Yeah, I mean he's like he's the number one safety too, like clear as day. So.
Definitely.
I have a question, but I kind of want to save it for the very end.
Fair enough. Thanks for the tease.
Oh, I had one, but I keep going.
Pick number 23. We both have the Jets keeping it. I've got them going edge rusher after getting their quarterback at number 2. I'm going Gregory Rousseau. DJ is also going defense, but you've got the boy with the bad back in Caleb Farley. We've talked a little bit about both these guys already. Denny, what's the popular pick here? Is there mocks that you see with trades? Because I tend to think a lot of these teams that have like the multiple first-round picks, sometimes they'll package them, try to get back up, or even fall back a little bit farther. We saw the Dolphins do it last year when they had 3 first-round picks. They ended up trading with the Packers when the Packers jumped up to take DJ's favorite quarterback, Jordan Love. So I sort of feel like trade is really in play here. But Denny, what are you seeing here from the Jets?
Yeah, for the Jets, they've been kind of focused on cornerback a lot. The consensus right now is Greg Newsome, but if a guy like Caleb Farley falls to them and Newsome's not there, like why not? I mean, why not take that risk? The talent's there, and based on the report was that the procedure was minor, but any injury with the back is always kind of questionable. So,
right. DJ, for like 15 minutes, I feel like you've looked like you're up to something. Are you just like coming down a little bit from the drunk on the golf course, or what? Why do you look like you're up to something this entire episode?
Because I've been drinking, bitch.
the honesty comes out. I'm excited about this next pick, 24. Me and DJ both have running backs going, and me and DJ for years have joked about like a draft day guarantee. Like we text each other like day of draft. Quit pulling your leaky noodle arm tattoo on the screen, man. You're just ruining it for all the audience.
I need to attract women to the podcast, so yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, fair enough.
And men, I don't discriminate.
If you just put like a paper bag over your head, it would probably be better.
I just need to attract people.
What I was saying, Denny, is me and DJ, like day of draft, we text each other like a draft day guarantee. We've probably been doing it for a decade, and it has to be like something that happens outside of the top 10. So it can't be like super obvious. DJ already sent me his like 2 days ago and said, my draft day guarantee, Pittsburgh, running back, round 1, collision course. And he's got his boy. It was one of their spoilers earlier. Javonte Williams. I'm going Travis Etienne, but DJ, you've just been itching to talk about Javonte Williams on a podcast, so I'm turning it over to you.
What do you mean I've been itching? It's just the fact that I love Javonte. I've watched so much of Javonte. All my knowledge, Denny. Do you have a different name that I can call you by? Like, I can't. I don't. Anyways, all my knowledge comes from gambling. Okay, I've watched a shit ton of Javonte Williams. To me, he's the best running back in this draft. I love Najee Harris, but when it comes down to it, Najee Harris to me is a product. He's a good running back. That's a fact, obviously. But when it comes down to it, he's a product of the team that he plays on. Literally the best offensive line in college football, period. I mean, I think they're going to continue to be the best offensive line in football. I know North Carolina is returning most of the offensive line, so they were pretty good. But when it comes down to it, Alabama was better than North Carolina's offensive line. Javonte Williams I see a lot of people comparing to Nick Chubb, and now I kind of get it. It was just, I don't like to compare guys to other NFL players, but his vision is second to none. His contact is on contact. Like when he runs into somebody, he breaks a tackle. He's incredible. He is my number 1 running back, hands down. Obviously, to me, the Steelers are taking running back, so this is where I take Javonte Williams. I know it's going to be Javonte, it's going to be Etienne, and a lot of drafts. To me, it's Javonte. I want to be the guy that makes the right pick here. I'm gonna go on a limb, take Javonte Williams to the Steelers.
Denny, I'm assuming you're seeing a lot of running backs mocked here. Is DJ the only one with Javonte Williams? Is he a complete outlier here, or does he have company?
So I personally, not from the site, I also feel like Javonte Williams is going to be the first running back taken. I think a lot of people are just Etienne is one of those guys that he's been the number 1 running back from 2 years ago, right? Yeah. And so I feel like people just kind of forgot about him. He's just there. And Najee's been the one that's kind of climbed up, and then Javonte's been like that hot trendy pick. And I think he's the guy that GMs are going to fall in love with, and they're going to take him. Because they're scared some other team's going to take him. But for the most part, it's been a lot of Najee Harris. But I'm wondering if a lot of that is the fantasy player in people, because they see such an opening. They're like, oh my God, can you imagine Najee Harris on the Steelers? Right. It'd be great for fantasy, right? But I don't know if the Steelers also feel that way. Because Connor's still there, right?
Yeah.
I know he's free. He's a free agent right now. He hasn't signed anywhere.
James Conner's currently a free agent right now.
But does that matter?
Who's
they are, as of right now, Anthony McFarland and Benny Snell, I believe, are the top 2 running backs on the depth chart.
Yep.
So I've seen a lot of like Kenneth Gainwell like later, like round 3 to the Steelers.
Right.
But if they don't go first round, because there has been some Tevin Jenkins, Jalen Mayfield talk in the first round for the Steelers as well, at least in the mock drafts. So,
okay, a couple of things. Number 1, might be a luxury pick. Number 2, could the Steelers why are we talking about the Steelers? No, this is an actual luxury pick. Okay,
I know Packers taking a quarterback and running back in rounds 1 and 2, and then not using them the entire year is a luxury pick.
Could they move up?
That's luxury.
Could they move up? Could they be a move up candidate? Like why not go up and take a quarterback? Why not go up and make a move and just give up a bunch of shit? Because Ben Roethlisberger isn't the guy anymore. Like why are we stuck on this guy? The Steelers can't be sitting here like, all right, Ben Roethlisberger is the dude. And do you think Mac Jones falls this far? Like we haven't. Ben, you haven't had Mac. Did you have Mac Jones go already? Yeah, you did. Never mind.
I had Mac Jones go at 3. DJ, your question is answered by why I have ETN going in this spot, and I don't mind Javonte Williams there. I mean, you can interchange them; it's fine. I don't
think we're wrong. Yeah. of Ben pooping his pants.
Oh no.
He's got the internet issues. Go ahead, Mikey.
Ben is out, so I'm taking over the show. Oh no, he's back.
Thanks, Mikey. That happens at least once
He
an
tried.
episode. He
Anything
did.
for you,
I
man.
love the effort. Well, what I was saying though is why I don't think they trade up to try to get a quarterback. It's you re-sign Juju for what? A year. It's a very short deal. You have Roethlisberger coming back. I get it. I've been saying for 2-3 years that this team needs to add a different quarterback other than Mason Rudolph. However, since you're knee deep into it, since you're picking 24th in the draft, surround Ben. See if you can make one more year out of it. They were the last team to lose a game last year, if I remember right. And then the wheels did fall off completely, and they sucked ass against the Browns in that playoff game. But load up. Load Roethlisberger with the playmakers and just try to make a run at it. Like, this is your window. Like, I get it. Like, they need another quarterback for the best thing that you can do for the future. It probably is trying to get a quarterback. And if you're going to do it, this is the year. Like, get your damn quarterback and whether it was free agency or this year's draft. Yes, that's the play. But they didn't do it in free agency, and I don't see them doing it since they're picking at 24. Give him another playmaker. Go all in. See what happens.
If Mac Jones does fall to where I have him, there's no way they don't make a move to go up and get him. Because honestly, they don't. There's no chance they believe in Ben Roethlisberger at this point. He's teased retirement for 1,000 years. He's basically Brett Favre. Their defense has been very solid, like very good. Like, what is a running back going to do for you at this point when you need to go up and you're like, Roethlisberger isn't good. He's very bad at football. We all knew. Denny, there's no way you didn't know the Steelers were not a good playoff football team 10 games of the season. Ben and I talked about it over and over and over again. Denny, I don't doubt that you watched that team and were like, no, this team's a fucking fraud. And they lost immediately. So at this point, you can't tell me the Steelers aren't, you know what? Game day guarantee Steelers move up and get a quarterback.
He's already flaking on his original one. Denny, are you seeing the Steelers as trade candidates, especially trading up? Like, is that a mock that you're seeing?
I've seen a few mock drafts of the Steelers moving up, but for the most part, it's been a lot of staying put as well.
Mikey, write it down. Game day guarantee Steelers move up and get the quarterback.
I love it. Mikey's just going to produce the hell out of this.
But
let's move on.
He specified the first round, so they might move up in like the third round to get Kyle Trask.
No, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why move up in a round later when this is like one of the best quarterback drafts? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
I think Denny was trying to have your back there and just say that you're guaranteed.
I understand that, but I don't like the second, third round quarterback. They need to go up and get him now because Roethlisberger is dead.
What are you going to do? Let's move on to 25. It's originally the Jaguars pick. DJ, I don't know if you've seen my mock draft yet, but I have the Green Bay Packers jumping up to this pick because after we talked in the last episode, you kind of put something in my head about Rondale Moore. And I like the idea that, Jesus, let's give Aaron Rodgers a slot receiver, a playmaker, a guy that you just get the ball in his hands and let him create. You don't need to rely on this guy all the time. He's probably not what's best for the ultimate future of your team. A guy like Terrace Marshall, Rashad Bateman, it's probably better for your future, but let's maximize Aaron Rodgers while we have him. So I have him jumping up and taking Rondale Moore. I'll just get your opinion first, DJ, because you have the Packers. I don't want to spoil your pick, but you have them staying put and still taking. Still taking. Bleep that out, Mikey.
So what are we doing? What am I taking? Jaguars?
Well, yeah, you got the Jaguars at 25.
Yeah, I'm taking an offensive lineman. I don't want to talk about the Packers yet.
All right, fair enough. Denny, what's the popular pick at 25? What are you seeing there out of the Jaguars? Another team with 2 first-round picks that have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, this is where the safety from TCU goes. Trevon Moehrig. Yeah.
Yep.
But a while ago, so you have Rondale Moore going to the Green Bay Packers, right? But couple months ago, it was pretty popular that Tony from Florida was the pick. Lots of mock drafts had the Green Bay going with that selection, but he's kind of cooled off, and now he's starting to come back down to earth. So
I was going to ask you about him because I feel like that has been a thing. I've seen some mocks where he's going as early to the Bears. At what were they at, like 20? But you said that's been cooling off.
Yeah, for sure. That is no longer the case. Yeah, that's been cooling off.
Well, since DJ wants to wait and talk more about the Packers when they actually pick, let's move on to 26 because we both have the Browns keeping that pick. I've got the Browns going edge rusher, who we've already talked about, Jason Oweh. DJ has a defensive lineman out of Alabama with Christian Barmore. DJ, is it because you think the Browns are already sort of set on offense and they just need help on the defensive line? What was your theory with the pick?
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. The Browns have I think the Bengals need to do what the Browns did. They turned from the worst offensive line to literally the best offensive line.
One of the best, yeah.
In a year. So when it comes down to it, the Browns are all defense at this point. And I actually think Barmore, I remember watching him at Alabama just fucking dominate in the last couple of games there in the playoffs. I think we might be having him go too late. I think everybody has. I think he might go earlier than this. And I'm a little upset this is how late I had him go. But I do see the Browns going ahead. And if this is how far he drops, then I think the Browns get a steal here and Christian Barmore at 20, what is it? 27,
26. Denny, where are you seeing, like, what's the earliest you're seeing Barmore go? And then what are you seeing here from the Browns at 26?
So I really like the Barmore pick because he's the top defensive lineman in a very weak class.
Mm-hmm.
So why not go and get him? But, I've seen him go, as high as like 18, 17, 15, but a lot of mocks to either 25 to the Jaguars or 32 to the Bucks. But, like DJ said, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes higher than this because he is the top defensive lineman or defensive lineman, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't mind that pick at all. That'd be something I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on
I
here
would love
before
him
the
to
next
go
one.
to
DJ may have talked me into that one. I don't like that. Let's go on to 27. The pick is originally held by the Ravens, where DJ has them keeping the pick and taking Terrace Marshall. I, however, have the Colts taking that pick after Baltimore traded up and the Colts taking Eric Stokes. I see that Mikey has entered the room. That means he's got something on his brain.
I'll let DJ go first and talk about his pick.
To me, Sammy Watkins means nothing. Sammy Watkins is a nothing pick, right? Because he's just an injury guy. He's adding something to maybe the first two games, as we always talk about them, and we're always right. Like we can't be wrong on that. He always plays 2 games, scores a couple of touchdowns, then he's just out. That's literally the facts. At this point, you need. I think they want to try to give Lamar Jackson the chance to get a top wide receiver. Hollywood Brown isn't that guy, so let's add a guy like Terrace Marshall, who's just a touchdown machine. If he can't succeed throwing the ball in the air with Andrews and Terrace Marshall, then he's just not the guy. I think they have to give him another weapon. That's why I take Lamar Jackson here.
Terrace Marshall. I completely I love this pick. I love this pick from a real life perspective. I love this pick from a fantasy perspective. It's fantastic. And I know this is more so about the NFL draft, but what kind of day would it be if I didn't put a fantasy spin on something? And, a lot of people seem appalled that Terrace Marshall could land in Baltimore because of, Lamar Jackson hasn't really showed that he's an excellent passer. But DJ, to your point, he has never had this big-bodied, potentially true X receiver that Terrace Marshall can be. And I think that's really, really exciting. I saw a statistic earlier that was like, I had it up and I feel like an asshole that I don't have it up anymore. But it was like over the first 4 games of 2019 with LSU, Terrace Marshall was on the exact same pace as Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. He had like 60 or 70 less yards than them, but he did have more touchdowns than them over that 4-game span. And I know 2019 was a super special season for LSU in general, but Terrace Marshall is an absolute baller. I mean, he's fantastic. He had an awesome year in LSU in 2020, and LSU was not awesome in 2020. So I love this pick to the Baltimore Ravens.
Denny, are you seeing that as a common spot for Marshall, or is it a different receiver, different position?
It's been pretty solid Marshall as the pick here for the Ravens.
Yeah. I think we all agree, though, it like Mikey said, though, it has to be that kind of receiver. Like, I have him trading up to get Bateman. If you can guarantee me Marshall here and they don't have to trade up, that's great as well. That's why I had him trade up, though, is to get that receiver that's different than what they already have. To, like, repeating what Mikey said, get him the do-it-all guy.
Yeah. They need like the true alpha, right, to come in and kind of be that number one.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I have Marshall going at the next pick. 28 is the Saints. My theory here is you have Michael Thomas. You lost Emmanuel Sanders. Are you relying on Traquan Smith? Like, he's shown a flash here and there, but is that going to be your guy? Whereas Terrace Marshall, I get, like, I hate the idea of, like, well, he played at LSU, he's got to go to the Saints. Like, not a big fan of, like, picking the team just because he plays in the same state or whatever. I just think he's that receiver that can complement a guy like Michael Thomas very well. Whereas DJ, you've got the linebacker Jeremiah. Let's it's not a terrible name, but since DJ got to play 18 today with about 18 beers, let's give him a run at saying the name.
All right, we'll go with Jeremiah Owusu Karamoa.
Karamoa. Very well.
Cool.
Not bad, man. You're exceeding expectations today. If I had to give you like a report card, like parent teacher conferences, you are exceeding expectations. What's the theory on the linebacker outside of the fact that it's I think Denny would back me up. It's probably a fairly common mock pick there.
I'm just hoping
for Terrace Marshall.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they don't take the wide receiver I want, honestly. So I mocked somebody else.
So that's why you did. That's why DJ did it. But Denny, what's the consensus pick there? Or are there any other people that kind of believe that, hey, receiver is a first round possibility for this team?
So Saints have been kind of all over the place. There hasn't been a one guy that's kind of taken the reins. I've seen some Zaven Collins, Nick Bolton, Kadarius Toney. So there's been kind of, and none of them are like solid either. None of them are like 40%, mock drafts. It's all like 10% here or there. So they're kind of, it'll be interesting to see where they end up going. But linebacker seems to be pretty popular for them.
Not going to lie, that was a tough one for me to mock, but I just couldn't stop looking at that wide receiver depth chart and just like, oh, man, they need help. And if Terrace Marshall's still on the board, sign me up. DJ, are you ready to get your homer on? Because at 29 is the Green Bay Packers. I'm just going to clear the lane right now because I've got the Jaguars after their trade back, taking Christian Barmore. We already talked about it. It's a good fit. I don't know that he's going to last that long, but Jesus, if he's there, that's a steal after trading back. Who do you have the Green Bay Packers taking at 29?
My original target was Rondale Moore, but I've changed it. And it's the other Moore, Elijah. This guy is just a fucking. I've talked about this before. This guy's a dog. This guy, he reminds me again of Steve Smith. I've said it over and over again. Sorry, Mikey, relax. But I love Elijah. I know it's coming.
I do like Elijah more, though, for the record.
He's a dog. He's going to come in there in the slot. He's going to get a bunch of receptions. He's going to be angry. He's going to talk shit. He's going to fit in that locker room. When it comes down to it, the Packers, who I watch and I'm correct on more than you, Ben, and you, Mikey, and you, Denny. This is what I do. I make correct picks for this fucking team. I see that the Packers are doing everything they can to make Aaron Rodgers happy. They're resigning Aaron Jones. You don't resign a fucking running back when you draft one in the second round and you have Jamal Williams, who they can get for very cheaps. If you're not trying to make Aaron Rodgers happy, you've got Kevin King, who's trash. They bring him back. They bring back Preston Smith. They re-sign the Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari. They restructure. They just continue to do everything to make Aaron Rodgers happy. If you don't think this is the 1 year, I understand they don't draft wide receivers. if you don't think they aren't doing everything to make Aaron happy and extend his shelf life for that team and extend his timeline, because that's what he did after his MVP season, you're crazy. They are drafting a wide receiver, Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is my guy here. Just a fact. It's just facts. Try to argue. I can't wait to shit on you.
No one wants to argue. We just want to have a nice discussion, DJ.
I want to argue.
And Mikey's here. And Mikey's here, so I know he wants to say something.
I do, and it's DJ. I agree with you. I think Elijah Moore is a fantastic pick for Green Bay. I don't know if he's.
Hey, apologize to me.
I'm what? There's nothing to apologize for. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see Elijah Moore go in the first round, at the end of the first round in the NFL draft. This whole time I was thinking, he's probably like a mid, maybe an early second round pick. Denny, I'd be intrigued to see what you have to say on that one. But I mean, he's been shooting up draft boards, it seems, especially since his pro day where he absolutely fucking balled out. I mean, dude's awesome.
He's a dog.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah Moore right now is projected as a second round pick, but like you said, he's been shooting up the boards. Right at the new year, he was like ranked 109th, and now he's 41st. So he's climbing. But with the Packers, it's been wide receiver like consistently for all the mock drafts. Now the player hasn't been the most consistent. It's been like Tony, Rondell Moore, Terrence Marshall. These are all the guys. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Whoever falls to you, plug in the wide receiver.
There you go.
But I wouldn't be mad about Elijah Moore. He's like DJ said, he's a stud. So
hey, Mikey, can you just apologize to me, please?
that was the moment of the podcast.
How angry? All right, we're gonna move this pretty quick for this, but honestly, Denny, I need to know, how angry does Aaron Rodgers make you on a yearly basis?
No, I love Aaron Rodgers. I really do.
Oh my God,
I do. But
you respect Aaron Rodgers, you mean?
I had Aaron Rodgers in my dynasty league too. So that's probably why I liked Aaron Rodgers. But I hated Brett Favre. Fucking hated Brett Favre. My gosh.
Why? Like, I don't get it.
Because he's a no comment.
Yeah, and no, if it's for the reason that is, yes. But as a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is 1,000. He's way better. It's not even close.
Yeah, but he's no Jay Cutler though.
Right.
Who? Aaron Rodgers?
Either of them.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers is 1,000 times more talented, and he's done way more damage to that team. And so I'm like, I get like they hated Brett Favre, but like I need you to hate Aaron Rodgers because this is not me at all.
I don't hate Aaron Rodgers.
God damn it! I hate you.
I think I'm too generalized into football. Like I'm not just like all into the Bears, right?
Yeah, I appreciate that, but like fuck you and move on.
DJ can be the only one that loves his guy. If a person that's supposed to hate him loves him, man, you see what happens. DJ showing us a picture of his light.
Is that an unsigned Aaron Rodgers jersey that's framed for some reason?
Yeah, and it's in his bedroom.
Yeah, DJ, that's supposed to be signed, like good old Christian McCaffrey up there.
Yeah, but I like the best quarterback of all time. So fuck Christian.
At least you guys have someone that's like you can actually like put a display of. Like I wouldn't even know who to put up.
Oh, Brian
Khalil Mack.
Denny, I'm not a Packers fan.
Take butt kiss.
This is gonna make you even more mad. I got this from my wife.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. That combination, that name, the colors, the number, that entire combination just makes me cringe.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Let's we're on pick 30. We're on to the Bills. I've got them taking offensive lineman Tevin Jenkins. Not a sexy pick, but this is a team, DJ, as you would say. You could go with a luxury pick here, but I think it's going to beef up the inside here. I've seen Tevin Jenkins projected both as an offensive tackle and an offensive guard. So that versatility makes him Denny, I'm kind of curious to see where you think he's going in this, because I've seen him projected early 20s most of the time in the first round. So the fact that he's falling this far, the fact that he can play both tackle and guard, I like the versatility, and DJ has him going edge rusher with Jalen Phillips out of Miami. Let's start with the Tevin Jenkins there. What are you seeing out of Tevin Jenkins, Denny?
Sure. Yeah. So Tevin Jenkins has been kind of the pick for the Steelers at 24. But if we've seen him as high as 20 to the Bears, 18 to the Dolphins, 17 to the Raiders. But it wasn't until probably maybe last week Jenkins was the pick for the Bears at 20. So if you were able to get him at 30, I think the Bills would be thrilled.
Right.
Can I ask a question? And I know Loadbox tweeted this out, and I think this is all the analysis we'll ask on the Bills. But why the fuck do so many people have them taking a running back here?
Is that common? Are you seeing that a lot, Denny?
Yeah, it's actually the most common pick right now.
Why? I just, and maybe you don't know, but it doesn't make any sense. They drafted a running back last year. They have Singletary. It doesn't. They don't run the ball already. They just throw it all around. It doesn't make any sense.
I think a lot of writers look at it as a luxury pick, if you will.
Well done. But seriously, I feel like it is because I composed that tweet that DJ is talking about, and we're on the same page. We're like, I don't get it, Mikey. You must have some insight there.
Yeah, I think with this one, it probably is a lot of fantasy people because there's literally nothing going on with Singletary. There's nothing going on with Moss, Zach Moss. Yeah. If they win a guy at pick 30 overall, I mean, he's immediately getting at least a 50 to 60% share on this offense, an incredibly led, high-flying offense. I mean, I've given them a running back in a couple of the mocks that I've done, ultimately knowing that that's probably the fantasy side of me wishing that's going to happen.
I can't.
Right. Don't forget, too, the Bills signed the greatest running back in Dolphins history, Matt Breida. And he'll definitely get some, he'll take some fantasy points away from.
If they draft a running back, I'll quit football. It just doesn't make sense.
But this, like Denny was saying, it does kind of feel like this would be a luxury pick for the Bills. Ben, you mentioned that last year the Chiefs were able to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire because it was a luxury pick. I mean, this is pick 30. The Bills were phenomenal last year. They're going to be phenomenal again this upcoming year. I mean, I could see them just completely rehauling and upgrading at running back here.
How do you know if you're good at running the ball if you choose to run it 0 times? Literally in the first half of a playoff football game.
That was amazing.
You don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but that's my 2 cents on that one.
What upsets me about that, and I don't want to rant on just Bills running backs, but I swear every time I'd watch them, when they would give Devin Singletary the ball, he was pretty good. They would get inside the 5-yard line. Running backs didn't exist. If they were running it, it was Josh Allen. So it's like DJ said, how do you prioritize running back in this spot when you are simply choosing to ignore them after drafting 2 of them fairly high in the last 2 years? That's like I said, DJ, we're just going to rant on that. We don't have the answers to that, but it's a good question though. We'll move on with the final 2 picks here. DJ and I both have offensive linemen going to the Chiefs at 31. I have Jalen Mayfield out of Michigan. DJ's got a second North Dakota State player going in the first round in Dylan Radunz. Denny, what's a popular pick here to the Chiefs, especially after they let go of their 2 starting offensive tackles in free agency?
Yeah, it's been solidly offensive line. Again, no one single player. Over the last week, it's been Samuel Cosmi from Texas, offensive tackle. Yeah. But historically, it's been Wyatt Davis, offensive lineman from Ohio State. So I think they just go with best available offensive lineman at this point
on their board.
Yep. Me and DJ are both shaking our heads. I don't know that we have too much more to add on that one. The last one here with Tampa Bay at 32. We both have them going defenders. DJ, this is going back to the beginning of the podcast here. We're going full circle. I've got them taking the interior defensive lineman out of Washington. It's Levi. Listen closely because you're going to get tested on this often, DJ. Onwuzurike.
No.
Onwuzurike. Not even bullshitting you here. Yeah, well, you're going to have to learn.
W and the U.
The N and the W are in the wrong spots based on the phonetic spelling. And DJ has another one of the former players' sons. I feel like this draft is sort of loaded with them. The last couple of drafts, anyways. Makes us feel old. Asante Samuel Jr. Man, this was a tough pick for me. Just because I feel like so many damn people returned to the Buccaneers that I didn't think were going to return. DJ, did you struggle like mightily with this one?
Yeah, you know what? I thought about where did the Packers beat them the most, and it was their secondary. I think that's where everybody like had their biggest weakness was in their secondary. Their offensive line played way better than I thought as they went on throughout the years. So it was like, where'd they suck? Because I was looking at safeties, looking at cornerbacks, I was looking at their secondary. I looked at the best available secondary player at this point. It was Asante Samuel, because that's where they were biggest on my draft board. That's where their biggest weakness was. So that's where I went.
These like the not like top tier safeties, like the Surtans, the Farleys, the Horns, a guy like Asante Samuel, this is kind of like a sweet spot for a team that needs a cornerback. I think you're getting fairly good value in this spot. So Denny, where are you seeing a guy like Samuel? What's the earliest spot? Is he a common pick to the Bucs? Because I actually like where DJ's going with that. You have a bit in DJ's term of the definition, you have a bit of a luxury here. You can go a lot of different ways. Is this a common pick for them?
There have been a few mock drafts that have had Samuel going to the Bucs at 32. He's right now kind of like a second round pick projected, but there has been, as of late, there have been quite a few of him going in the first round. So you could see him definitely moving up in the draft boards as Farley probably drops down.
Is there a consensus pick for the Bucs right now? I feel like, as me and DJ described it, hey, there's just a lot of different options that they can go. Is there a consensus, or is it kind of spread out?
So D-line as of late, for sure. Christian Barmore and Jason Owe and those are seems to be the guys right now. Historically, there's been running back thrown in there too. I don't think they're going to go running back. I think if
another
anything,
one I don't understand. Yeah. That's the same rant I could go on about the Bills. I just get lost every single time I see the Buccaneers mocked with a running back. It doesn't make any sense to me. But interesting insight. DJ, do you have anything else you want to add to that pick?
Okay, I did have one that I talked about earlier. Do you think that we've what's the word I'm looking for? Do you think we just haven't drafted enough offensive linemen just like we do every year? And it's so easy to draft a sexy position, because I feel like I have not drafted enough offensive linemen in this draft in the first round.
Are you asking me?
Yeah. How many offensive linemen do you see consensusly going?
Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I feel like every year it's so easy for us to go wide receiver, cornerback, tight end, running back, and we always put too many running backs and not enough offensive linemen. And I'm just like, we're just continually not putting enough offensive linemen, or we're under that number, right? Does it feel like we just haven't put enough guys, offensive linemen?
Probably, yeah.
Right?
Like positions like wide receiver and running back, right? I bet you teams that don't value them.
Yeah,
and they're just not gonna take them. So
I wish we could look at we need to look at historical data at this point at that position, because every year we talk about this, and every year we are way undershooting offensive linemen. And it's like Hilaire was the last running back taken. We've only had 3 or 4 consensusly.
And think about how many running backs were in that class too. Akers, Dobbins, Taylor, Hilaire. Like it was just a loaded class. And then a lot of them went in the second and third round. It's just kind of how it plays out. But yeah, I think you're onto something there, DJ. As we wrap up, I do want to say thank you to Mikey. We've never had a producer to be able to help us with the scroll with that, and then to be able to pop in, especially after getting hit by the vaccine monster. It knocked him out for about 10 minutes of the show, but he powered through it, and you're back. So I appreciate that, Mikey.
Yeah, no, it was actually a lot of fun. Don't expect me to do this every time, but more than happy to hop on again at some point.
We'll see you next week. And Denny, obviously appreciate all that insight. Like I said, you've seen more mock drafts than freaking any single person that I know, to be able to have that insight. And it's not like we're talking about like GMs here, but we're talking about a lot of people who put a lot of mock drafts out and have a lot of insight. So being able to have that data and the knowledge and the consensus and the overvalues and the undervalues, I mean, that's great, and it added a lot to this episode, especially when DJ was acting the way that he was, because he's preparing right now to scare us with something. So before DJ, do you need to pipe in, or can I let Denny talk? It's up to you.
No, I had one more question, Denny. Just last second. It's gonna be short. Do you watch The Office?
Okay, I do.
Oh, great.
All right. Who's the main character in The Office?
Michael Scott.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
it.
no.
That's the answer. All right, move on, Ben. All right, I'm done.
No, because now I'm pissed. Now you guys just became best friends because
that's
Denny's
it.
the
Let's
only
go.
one that's agreed with you. Fine.
No, that's we're done.
How is
I
it,
just
how
wanted
is it
to
not
hear-
Michael Scott?
Well, because it's Dwight. That's why.
No. Maybe in the last season.
We
no
would
one watched.
need another hour and 45 minutes to have this full debate. But so, Denny, like I said,
Interesting.
obviously, great having you come on and be able to provide that insight. Once again, do you want to let everyone know where they can find all the mock drafts, find you on Twitter?
Yeah. So my Twitter is NFL Mock Draft DB. The website is NFL Mock Draft Database. The goal of the site is to kind of be your Google for mock drafts. There's no sense of you Googling mock drafts. Just come to the site. I have them all. They're all, nicely formatted. All the spelling is correct. You can quickly go to like a player page and see where all the players going. You'll quickly see whether that player is a trendy pick, whether it's the most popular pick, whether that player is kind of out of left field. Another cool thing I have on each mock draft is who are the players that were left out. I think when you go to a lot of mock drafts, you'll see you don't really get a sense of like, okay, cool, you have all these players, but who's not in this mock draft? Like who are the guys that maybe like slip to the second round? So it's kind of cool to do that. And then, while you're there, if you want to create your own mock draft, I have a simulator that you can kind of run through and save your mock draft and then kind of review it from there, add some comments if you'd like. But yeah, just have fun on the site.
That's awesome. And actually what it did last time when I checked mine on there, I was like, oh, I left that guy out of the first round. Oh shit, I left that guy out of the first round. I was like, oh no, I got
100 players. 100 players in the first round.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
As always, check us out on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out the website, loadedboxpodcast.com. The mock drafts that we just broke down will be found there. Our dynasty rankings that Mikey does are there. Our fantasy or our NFL draft player profiles are there. Every single thing that we do and that you need in your life can be found there. Our next episode, I have an idea of what we're going to be doing, but it's not set in stone yet. But stay tuned because it's going to be great. We're available everywhere you find podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review. DJ, you look so anxious this entire episode, but go ahead and send us out.
Bye.